might realize that if I don't get the 20 million from Mr. Greedy, I'll go bankrupt.
The most exclusive part of the business law.
Common stock versus preferred stock. That is exactly what we're going to dig in today in the episode of our podcast. So, Kat, what is the difference between these two?
Common stock is what you typically have. When you start a company, you will most likely only have one share class. And that share class will give everybody the same type of control rights and the same economic rights.
Okay, and that was the common stocks.
Yeah, but we should remember that you can issue a numerous amounts of share classes with different types of control rights and economic rights. But today we're going to look at the preferred stock, because that's very typical in the startup world, where an investor might demand to get preferred stock. And we're going to look at the typical example where the investor wants it, and it will in that case mean that he wants protection for his investment. He wants to be preferred at the liquidity event so that the shares that he holds will get monies back before everybody else.
Okay, so the preferred stock is a security for the investor.
It's securer compared to being a part of the common stock like everybody else.
I understand.
In this case, you can, whatever terms and conditions you agree upon, but now we're talking about protection in a liquidity event. That can be that you sell the company, it goes bankrupt, but then you most likely won't get anything. It can be a liquidation, it can be paying dividends, that type of event when you get some cash out of the company as a shareholder. So if we take an example, we can say that Mr. Greedy comes to you and wants to invest 20 million at the valuation of 100 million.
Okay, so then you mean the company is valued for 100 millions. Okay.
And up upon till this point, you only have common stock. Everybody has the same. But he wants preferred stock. So we will still get the ownership of 20% of the company. But imagine that within 3 years, it's been tough. It's been COVID. It's been really hard for you to get it going. So you manage to sell it for 18 million. Well then, Mr. Greedy, who has preferred stock, will be entitled to get up into his investment back first.
Which in this case was 20 million.
So he will get the entire 18 million and you will get 0.
Wow. And does that happen the same to all of the other owners in the company?
Yeah, exactly, because everybody else is holding common stock.
Oh.
But if in case he would have accepted to have common stock with the rest of you, then you would have divided 18 million. So he gets 20% of 18 million, 3.6, I believe.
Yes.
And you will get the remaining of 18 million, which is 80% of 18 million.
14 millions for 100.
Perfect. So it's a big difference getting 0 or getting 14.4 million, right?
It's a big difference.
Big difference. So that's why it's so good to understand the preferred stock structure. And we can also add that there are different types of preferred stock, and Mr. Greedy, he wants participating. That means that let's say instead that we sell the company for 50 million. Well then, he first gets his 20 million back. So we have 30 million left. But then, since he has participating preference shares, he will also have a right to 20% of the remaining 30 million.
Oh, now I understand.
So he will get 6 million additional. So he will in total get 26 million. And you will get 80% of 30 million. So you will get 24 million.
Okay, and what was that called, the last thing you said?
Participating.
Participating. So first he get the investment back, and then he also get 20% that he owned of the money.
And we can compare that to selling the company for 50 million and everybody holding common stock. Because then you, holding 80%, would get 40 million. So 24 million or 40 million.
Yeah, it's a big difference.
Huge difference. But also to defend Mr. Greedy, to make it more comprehensive, because all investments in companies come with a risk, right? But what we're doing here is we're accepting that Mr. Greedy's investment is more like a loan. So you have to pay back that part, the loan part, before you get any cash, any proceeds from the company.
Okay, but I'm thinking about, is it common that people miss out about the preferred stocks and what it means, and then standing there selling the company and don't get money for something I started?
Absolutely. I'm gonna I'm gonna be honest, yes, because you're often so attracted by the investor, about the opportunity to get the monies,
Yes.
that you haven't really understood how the preferred stock will work. So my best recommendation is to do a worst case and a best case scenario.
When
you-
you're getting the agreement with the investor.
Yeah, and you might realize that if I don't get the 20 million from Mr. Greedy, I'll go bankrupt. So you might feel like, and I'm so sure that if I get the 20 million, my company will be worth 200 million in 3 years. So I'll take the risk. And I'm completely fine with Mr. Greedy having preferred stock. And also, if we go bankrupt, Mr. Greedy won't get anything else. I mean, most likely he won't.
Yeah.
So it's mostly it's very, very important to understand, so you don't build your dream without knowing the fundamentals, what can happen to you.
Yes, and that's why it's important to do a worst case scenario and really be informed what it means.
Yeah, because it is a risk.
It is a risk. Thank you for explaining.